Okay, so this is basically a webinar by the IEEE student branch of the University of Melbourne. We're mainly going to talk in this webinar on what the IEEE Extreme competition is, but we'll also briefly explain what are the benefits of becoming a member for IEEE and what you can do as a part of IEEE and what are the outcomes that you can have. So I think it's okay. I can start presenting on IEEE Extreme, and as we go, people can join. And this meeting. So to start, I want to let everyone know that this meeting will be recorded and will be available online later. And as I mentioned earlier, it is on IEEE Extreme and Unlock Extreme programming workshops that the University IEEE branch is offering. And all these events are in collaboration with the IEEE Computer Society as well as our Affinity Women in Engineering student group. So today, what I'm going to talk about is mainly I'm going to introduce what IEEE Extreme is, go over the rules and mention who's eligible to participate, and sort of explain the benefits of participation, and then explain a little bit on how we're providing mentorship support through Unlock Extreme events. And finally, I'm going to talk about IEEE membership and the membership offer that we have right now. So to begin the introduction, basically we want to talk about what IEEE Extreme is. And for those of you who are familiar with programming, you know that there are many programming contests that are happening worldwide every year, and IEEE Extreme is one of the most famous ones happening every year. It is called Extreme because it's a 24-hour event, and it's supported by IEEE Group. So basically, in a 24-hour, so one whole day, a team of 1 to 3 people will gather and code together, trying to solve programming puzzles that are provided by the IEEE group. And finally, the rankings at the end of the day, depending on how many questions you were able to solve and your score on different questions, would give the worldwide rankings and the prizes and etc. So the IEEE Extreme is open to all graduate and undergraduate students of all universities. The only catch is that you have to become an active IEEE member. And this year, the IEEE Extreme will be hosted virtually and, as I said, running simultaneously all around the world. And we have proctors, which are IEEE professionals that will oversee the contest and the competition throughout these 24-hour period. Now, you may be asking what is making IEEE Extreme unique? What is special in IEEE Extreme? So far back from when it was created up to now, the number of participants every year has increased. And in the last year, around 10,000 people all around the world participated in different teams solving puzzles. So it will be a good challenge for people who are interested in challenging their programming capabilities. Now, it aims to be a welcoming and international community. So it is open to everywhere around the world, and all different continents have universities, and students from different universities participate in IEEE Extreme. And all college students who wish to join IEEE and compete in the contest, no matter their level of expertise, location, or university, are welcome to apply. Now, the quality of competition, as I said, is cared by IEEE volunteers around the world, as well as proactive leadership of the contest as well. So to give you a quick history of where IEEE Extreme began and where it is now, it started back in 2006 with only 44 teams participating. But as it aged, the number of participating teams and hosting universities grew, and we can see that last year it reached close to 10,000 participants. So the number of members that were engaged in IEEE Extreme in the last year were, so as I said, around 10,000 participants. And if we include the total members, so the people who were overseeing and the people who organized the events, it was more than 11,000 IEEE members and more than 800 universities worldwide. So what are the rules of taking part in the IEEE Xtreme? Who can take part and what makes you eligible, basically? So the key point is that you need to be an IEEE student member to be able to participate in this contest. Now, for the members, you could either be a undergraduate or a graduate student member, and you could join together and form a team. And this is something that I also mentioned earlier, that this is a contest that you can do either individually or as a team. We personally recommend you to join as a team. The teams can be up to 3 individuals. And throughout the mentorship program that the student branch is planning to have this year, we can also help you find teammates if you happen to be someone who's interested in competing but are only an individual and have no one to make a team with. So you can be from any discipline. You don't necessarily have to be an engineer, and you don't necessarily have to be from computer science or computer engineering. As long as you're interested in programming, you can participate in the contest. Now, as I mentioned, you can have teams, and there are a basic set of rules on how many members can be on a team. So the teams can be at most 3 members, and at most 2 of the members can be graduate members. So to give you an example, we could have a team consisting of 3 student members, or 1 student member and 2 graduate members, or other combination. As long as you don't have more than 2 graduate members and 3 total members, you can have a team with that composition. Uh, and every university can have multiple teams participating, so it's not, there's no limit on to the number of teams that can be participating from every university. And as I said earlier, the teams will be overseen by a professional IEEE member who's called a proctor, and the student branch can help you find these proctors. So you could, if you want to choose a specific proctor, you can directly contact them. But if you also have any problem finding one, and if you would like, we could help you. We've already contacted people that are interested to proctor the event and oversee the competition. So if you're interested to become a team, we can help you find a proctor, because every team has to register under a proctor as well. And basically, as it's a contest, the teams should be solving the problems by themselves without any helps from outside. Obviously, you can search the internet, but the answers to the questions aren't available in the internet, and it usually gets to the abilities in your algorithmic knowledge and how you can solve puzzles, as long as you don't take assistance from others. So you might be asking, what are the benefits of participating in a programming competition in general and IEEE Xtreme in particular? So we're mainly here going to talk about the impact for students. So one of the most impact is the exposure to networking with the global programming community. So you will be seeing and you'll be meeting virtually people around the world who are solving the same puzzles, and you will sort of get a sense of how good your programming skills are compared to others, and you'll also get to know new people and teams from around the world. And as I said, at the end of the contest, you'll be receiving an international team ranking, which is going to be nice in your CV if you wish to either pursue a job in the future in the academy or outside the academy. Your team ranking in a programming competition can definitely be a nice CV. And more importantly, you can develop your coding skills. So the contest can be just a reason for you to improve your programming skills and participate in a contest. So not to mention that, as well as all these side benefits, the contest will also have prizes. So the first team in the worldwide competition is going to be awarded a prize, a fully paid trip to any IEEE conference around the world, and the limit is 10,000 US dollars per team. Now, the second place award is going to be awarded $400 per member. The third place will have a cash award of $300 per member. And for the fourth to 10th place, IEEE Xtreme will provide wireless phone chargers that are costed around $40 to $50 approximately. And for the top 100 teams, the top 100 teams will be provided a gift bundle, including an exclusive top coder t-shirt. And as well as all that, this year the University of Melbourne is providing special awards to its members and participants. So the top coders in the University of Melbourne will also be awarded by the university, which is also another incentive for you to take part in the competition. Now, so the important notes is that registration has already started in the first week of August and it will end in the first week of October. So you have until October to register. And for registration, you will need to become a member. And the competition itself is going to be on the 24th of October this year, but we'll also be having events throughout from now until 24th of October that can help provide information and mentorship to all participants. So to give you a little bit information about our plan for IEEE Xtreme 14, which is called the Unlock Xtreme of University of Melbourne, I'm going to give you how we plan to support and encourage all students to take part in the contest. So as I said, the registration has already opened. It opened in 3rd of August, and the IEEE Xtreme will be happening on October 24th. Now, today, this is the introduction webinar that the student branch has planned to introduce the IEEE Xtreme and sort of encourage people to take part, become a member, and take part in the contest itself. Now, we plan to have a set of workshops, programming workshops, that can help students learn how to program, and it can incentivize people to learn programming and take part in the contest. So the first of these workshops is going to be held hopefully next week, August 20th, which is going to be the first Unlock Xtreme coding workshop. Now, the focus of this coding workshop is going to be the basics of programming. So what are the different data structures that you could use, and how can you use these different data structures to write simple pieces of code that can solve simple questions. So this is sort of a beginner level workshop. And I have to say that all these workshops that are organized this year will be in Python. So the Unlock Xtreme coding workshop will be in Python language. But in order for you to take part in the contest itself, you don't necessarily have to know how to code in Python. You're able to, if you're able to code in any programming language, you're good to participate in the contest. It's only that this year we're trying to make Python so sort of a pivotal language that we're going to use in the Unlock Xtreme coding workshops. So in the first workshop, as I said, we will cover the basics of programming and how you can code using Python. Next, we're planning to have another workshop that is going to be more on the algorithmic ideas that are focused on solving puzzles that you're going to be facing, similar puzzles to what you're going to be facing in the IEEE Xtreme contest. And throughout these coding workshops, we'll first have a short 30 to 45 minute tutorial on what these different concepts are, whether it's the basics of programming or whether it's algorithms. We're going to have a short sort of lecture, and after that, we're going to have live coding sessions in which participants will start coding in an online program, an online platform that we provide to the participants, and then we can sort of mentor how they code and provide feedback to people if they have questions. Now, as well as these two Unlock Xtreme events that are organized by the student branch, we're also collaborating with the IEEE Computer Society and our Women in Engineering Affinity Group to also have more events for mentoring and support of the participants. We're planning to have an event, a talk by IEEE Computer Society that is going to sort of give us an idea of the experience of previous teams that participated in IEEE Xtreme and helpful notes on what to do in the day of contest. We're also planning to have a third Unlock Extreme coding workshop that is going to be organized by IEEE Women in Engineering in October. Now, I just wanted to mention that the student branch will help with team forming and provide further practice resources. So at the end of this talk, I'll give you a link to a Google form where you can submit your interest, and we will contact you back. And in the first Unlock Extreme session, we'll help you find teammates and basically form teams if you're an individual and would like to take part as a team member. So, as I mentioned earlier, the only catch for taking part in the IEEE Xtreme contest is going to be that you have to become a member. So, I want to give you an intro on how to become a student member and what are the benefits of being a member of IEEE. So, in order to become a member, you could register anytime you want at the website, at the IEEE students website at students.ieee.org/become a member. And once you become a member, you automatically join a community of more than 400,000 professionals around the world. And so the first benefit of becoming a member is that you can network with all these professionals in your area. You could send them messages through IEEE Collaboratech and basically contact the people whom you like to network with. As well as that, you will be having access to a large library of electrical engineering, computer science, and electronics technical literature. So that would be different IEEE journals and proceedings of conferences that are going to be available to you as soon as you become a member. And as I mentioned, you will be able to compete in the IEEE Xtreme event and sort of challenge your programming skills through a worldwide Xtreme event. And you could also access to many awards through the year. You could apply for IEEE awards. If you want to find out more about these awards, you could check the link below for more information. Then you would also have opportunity to apply for a wide range of funds, scholarships, and travel grants that are provided by IEEE every year. As well as all that, you can have access to participate in a multitude of events organized every year by the IEEE student branch. So just to give you an idea of what these events could be, the Unlock Extreme workshops that are being scheduled this year are part of these IEEE events I mentioned. So we'll be having industry visits, networking and educational events, and more. Now, I just wanted to bring into attention the membership offer that we right now have. So for people that are going to become a member, if you're not already an IEEE student member, if you would like to become a student member right now, up till 15th of August, you have this 5%, 50% discount on memberships. And as well as all that, I want to let you know that throughout these Unlock Extreme events, as well as the IEEE Xtreme contest itself, the University of Melbourne is providing prizes in terms of coupons that are sort of planning to be incentives for people to join. So on each Unlock Extreme event, we will have up to $50 of coupons given to teams that are mostly engaging and teams that are solving most problems at every Unlock Extreme event, as well as the prize that I mentioned earlier for the Extreme contest itself, the Extreme contest itself. So I would like to thank our supporters and sponsors for this event and the events to come, which are mainly the University of Melbourne through the Student Engagement Grant, as well as the support and collaboration of the IEEE Victoria section, the IEEE Computer Society of Victoria chapter, the IEEE Women in Engineering Student Affinity Group, and finally the IEEE Region 10. So I would just like to thank everyone for being here and listening to me explaining about the IEEE Extreme. And if you like to participate and find out more, if you want to find team members, make sure to use the QR code provided here to fill a Google form and give us your contact information. We will contact you regarding different Unlock Extreme events that will be happening in the next 2 months. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this point.
With the 50% discount, does that just apply automatically when we sign up, or how does that work?
So yes, the 50% discount that I mentioned is an IEEE initiative. So it happens from 1st of August until 15th of August, if I'm right. And as soon as you join, from the link here, students.ieee.org, normally you register, the membership for a year is around 45 to 50 Australian dollars, but in the 2 weeks from early August until 15th of August, it will be half that price. So it will be automatically applied. Yes.
Thank you.
Question in the chat, Sina. So one of them, how can we join the workshops? So I think probably I'll share the link in the chat maybe for the registration so that they could get an email. They could register themselves and then join. Is that okay for you?
Yeah. So the question was, how can we
join the workshops?
Okay, yeah, for joining the workshops, as I said, the QR code here will redirect you to a Google form that you can provide your email address as well as the reason that you're interested in participating. And we'll make sure to contact you regarding the workshops and ask you whether you're interested. Yeah, I think that would be how.
And there's another question. When do we need to finalize the teams? I think this is for the main Extreme event.
Right. So you need to become, if you want to use the 50% membership discount, you need to become a member by 15th of August. But the teams to be registered for the event, the registration deadline is the first week of October. So you have until the first week of October to find other people that are interested to form a team together. So we were hoping that sort of in the first and maybe the second Unlock Extreme, if you have already become a member and are looking to find teammates, maybe we could sort of have a networking opportunity that you could find different people that are also individuals who would like to make a team, and then you could participate together.
And then, is it necessary to make a team, or we can do it by ourselves? I think.
Yeah, you could if you like, you would be able to participate as an individual. There's no need to be a team member, but from my own experience back in, I think it was 2018 or 2017 when I participated in IEEE Extreme, the sort of questions, the number of questions that are there to solve, some of them require teamwork. Like if you're in a team, you can get more questions solved. So if you're having an eye on the prizes, I would totally recommend for you to be part of a team. But if you're just going to participate to challenge yourself, you can do it individually. There's no necessarily reason to make a team if you like to participate as an individual.
So the next question is, any obligation after joining? I think this is more about if we register for the workshops, is it an obligation to join all the workshops, something like that?
Well, since the workshops are organized freely, so you don't have to pay anything for the workshops itself. So I guess participation in any of the workshops is voluntary, and you when you register, you can choose to participate in the workshops that you like. If you like to be in all of them, we'd be happy to have you, and if not, you can attend whichever the workshops you have. And There are there are no obligations that I can think of. The only thing is that it just provides you opportunities to participate in these different events if you like.
Yeah. How will the actual competition work and its rankings? Is it who completes the most number of problems? Like it more about the extreme global competition.
Right. So the global competition is going to be, I don't know if you've had experience with programming competitions before, but there will usually be an online website that hosts different questions. So your team and everyone in the world gets the same questions, and it's like maybe 10 questions. And for each question, you have to write a code that takes an input and does something that is expected of it. So you will write a code, test it on a training input. So an example input is provided that you can test your code with. And then once your code is final and you're sure that your code works, you submit it through the system. And there is a judging system, a server somewhere judges your code on a set of unknown inputs to you. So if your code is written completely okay, you're going to get 100% score for that. There is a chance that your code performs on a proportion of the inputs provided by the server. So the judgment server might give you 100% score or anything between 0 to 100. So maybe your code only has the ability to solve some of the cases, but not all cases. And so for each question, you get a score between 0 to 100. And then the sum of those scores, there's a weighted sum of those scores that will give you your final score. And I think if there is a case that two teams have both solved everything or have the same score, the team that does it faster, so the submission time itself is also going to be accounted. So if two teams have all answered the same way, the team that has provided the answer faster is going to be scored higher.
Hello?
Hello.
I just had a question about the competition itself. Because we'll be all separately because it's all online, how do teams work together to solve the algorithm or the problem?
Well, usually what happens, so in my own experience, sometimes what happens is that like when there are 3 different questions, team members will start working on, so every team member might start working on the question that they like more. And while they're trying to solve it, if they have a question, so in a non-virtual setting that you're sitting together, everyone is coding on their own laptop. But then if you have a question, you just reach out to your friend and saying, hey, I was writing this code, I don't know how to write this part, or I'm having a bug, I'm not sure why. And I think in a virtual setting, what you're going to do is you could like share your screen with your friends or just send them messages through WhatsApp or any other messaging application just to let them know that, okay, I'll be solving this puzzle, you solve the other one, or I need you to solve this part of it. So if you write a function that does task A, I will write a function that does task B, and together these 2 functions can solve the code. So I think, especially since it's programming and everything is going to happen on your computer, doing it online is not going to be as hard. But yeah, this year, especially because of, especially in Victoria with stage 4 restrictions, everything is probably going to be happening online.
Okay. And just one more thing. So the competition's worldwide in 24 hours. Does it like start, for example, like 12 a.m. and then you have to finish by 12 a.m. the next day? Is that how it works? And you can start
if I'm
anytime?
right, it starts exactly at 0000 UTC on 24th of October. So I think that's maybe 10 a.m. Australian time. So the start time would be really good for us in Melbourne. But it starts 10 a.m. in Melbourne time, and we have 24 hours to code. So it starts the same time for everyone and ends at the same time.
Okay, yep, cool, thanks.
No worries. Yeah, and also another thing that I just realized is good to mention is that since it's a 24-hour event, another factor that you need to take into account is sleeping. So you need to decide what to do in terms of sleeping during the event. Some teams tend to like to sleep less. There are teams that don't sleep at all, and there are also teams that would like take part during 16 hours and sleep for 8 hours, or maybe even take shifts sleeping. But that's also something else that makes it a little interesting, is that since it's a 24-hour event, and the more you code, the more you code, the more output you got, and the more your score is going to be. It's important how you're going to schedule your sleeping throughout the event.
Actually, I just thought of one more question. So are there that many problems that you need the 24 hours to complete? Or how does it work actually?
Yeah, so I think there are. So in my own experience, the year that I was competing, there were enough questions, and actually the time is not enough, at least for us, wasn't enough to get 100% score on everything. So what happens is that maybe after, I don't know, 16 or 18 hours, you have a solution to all the codes that scores at least, let's say, 50%. If you're a good coder, you probably get to a point that you've solved all the questions, but some of the questions you're not scoring 100%. And usually the first teams are the ones that have everything solved 100%. So another challenge would be finishing fastest if everything can be solved. But normally what happens is that there are so many questions, and the solutions to these questions aren't that easy. So you have to write a bit of code, troubleshoot it, debug it, and make sure that it works. So usually you can code all the 24-hour and still coding remains.
Not yeah. Oh, so it's not like you get one question and then that once you finish that question, it unlocks to the next level and so on. It's more they give you all the questions and then you just work on whatever you can.
So that's what happens to my understanding. There might be questions released at certain times, but at any point you have multiple questions to choose from. So maybe it will have like 2 easy questions, 1 intermediate question, and 1 advanced question, and you sort of decide on which question to solve first, which is too hard, so you're going to leave for some time later. And usually you start with the easier questions, try to solve them really fast, and then go to the harder ones and spend more time on the harder ones and debugging them.
Okay. What kind of questions are they? Is it something like you have 4 cards and you have to choose the highest card and then print out the number of the card, or what kind of questions are they?
Yes, some of the questions are more basic questions. So in terms of like you get a list and you have to sort it, or like usually they give the question as sort of real world story. So they don't necessarily tell you that you have this input and this output, but they might give you a scenario where someone is going to the library looking for something, and then this is what's given to them, and this is what's expected from them. But the basic questions might be things like sorting and using the right data structure to store something so you could efficiently retrieve it. But there are also harder questions that may require algorithmic knowledge, such as the way you would graph traversal methods, like whether you need to do depth first search to find your result, or do a BFS search, so how you traverse a network, or methods on string searching. So there are basic questions and then more advanced algorithmic questions, like how do you find a pattern in a string? How do you open a password of a safe without knowing the actual combination, but knowing the information that this password was designed by a human? So for example, you could use a dictionary. So there are more abstract questions. Like I remember back when I was participating, one of the questions was that you have this database of locked accounts, and we would like you to write a code that finds passwords and tries these passwords and finds people's passwords, basically. So you want to hack people's accounts. And the thing is, you know that many people are going to use dictionary terms or things like 1, 2, 3 and a combination of that. So you're going to write a code that tries to predict people's password. And let's say there are 100 different passwords that you need to predict. So the more passwords you predict, the more score you're going to get on the question.
Well, okay,
See-
yeah. Now I
see,
see
just
why I
to-
need the 24 hours.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
will be a diverse range of questions. Some of them will be basic, but there will be complex questions that would need more time to be solved.
So in the workshops, will you guys teach us how to do some of these things, or like some kind of tricks and tips and things like that?
Yeah, so the aim is, so aim of the workshop is that the first workshop is going to be focused more on the basics of programming. So if
Mhm.
you're interested in taking part in these contests, but your knowledge of programming is limited, we would like
Yeah.
to maximize your inclusion by having a first workshop on how to code, what are the basics of coding, how can you use data structures to, as you mentioned, find the maximum, find the minimum, sort a
Yeah.
list and things like that. And in the second and third workshops, hopefully, we will try to touch on some of the more complicated concepts of programming, like different sorting algorithms or different graph traversal paths or string search methods that you might want to know so you could be using in the contest.
All right, great. Sounds fun. Okay, thank you.
Sina, just to add to it, Simona, I have just added the link for the sample problems here in the chat, which is again given by the IEEE Xtreme. So you can just have a look there.
Yeah,
So,
I saw. Yeah,
Right.
thank you.
Yeah, there's this website. I think the website that IEEE Xtreme is going to use this year is called CS Academy. I personally had a hard time trying to figure out how to even log in. I think there was an error with my email being too long or something. But if you access CS Academy, IEEE Xtreme has provided some sample questions on like what are the sort of questions that you're going to see in the day of the contest. Yeah.
I think for the simulatory experience, it is nice if they come to the workshop because many students would be working and solving, but just to have a glance at the
Exactly.
problems, you can use the website. Like the workshops are basically from PhD students at University of Melbourne, like just organized so that you can come and have a simulatory experience.
So if there are no more questions, Noor, would you like to wrap up the session?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
the chat looks fine too. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And I hope that you'll find this interesting and we'll have a good time participating in this programming contest together this year. Thank you very much for attending.